Hi, welcome to Overthinking Entrepreneur. I'm Megan, and I've had a successful online business for a few years now, and I think I overthought probably about 90% of my decisions along the way. Honestly, I just overthought whether I should say 90% or pretty much every decision in this intro. So if you find that relatable, you are definitely in the right place. In this podcast, I will help you get out of overthinking and into action so that your online business can finally start growing. Hi. So this episode is for you if you have ever put something together or even had customers buy something that you're really excited about and then found that people didn't really see it through to the end, or they didn't really complete it in the way that you were hoping that they would, and you're feeling a little bit discouraged. And it's right. I mean, not to say that you shouldn't feel discouraged. It can feel discouraging, especially when you put something together, whether it's something that you've put together that's paid, like a program like I create. Maybe it's a challenge, a free challenge even, that maybe you've put together for your community or for your customers, or even maybe a program or something that you've put together with products or a plan or some sort of service that you've created, and it just feels like people aren't following through. This can even apply to your free content. Maybe you put a lot of thought into your free content and you're really trying to help people and help them have some valuable mindset shifts or really learn something or really start to make some changes just through your free content. And you feel like even that isn't really getting the engagement or the feedback that you were hoping for. I think all of us have been in this place at one point or another. And what inspired this episode was my own. I wasn't necessarily upset about it per se, but I the last few times that I've tried to run something that was structured like a challenge where there were tasks and then at the end people would need to check in with their final results and the work that they've gotten done. I was just having a discussion with the people in my membership about something that I'm considering running next. It's a different challenge, one of my most popular challenges that I have, called Get Your Face in Your Feed. Some of us were talking about doing a round of it ourselves, that we felt like we were in need of it. And then I was kind of wondering if I should maybe launch and, do another round of it, because historically people have really liked this challenge. But I was just sort of thinking out loud to them. But I found that people haven't really been keeping up with challenges in the same way that they used to. And just for a little bit of backstory, if you're newer to me, challenges were a huge part of the way that I built and grew and maintained my business in the early years. I started with live video. Live video is really what Facebook Live specifically is what really started everything for me. And I was going live with lots of tips and free trainings. And at the time, it was kind of unique. There weren't, not to say that there wasn't anyone doing it. Of course, there were a lot of people, but it stood out more. It was a little bit more unique. And same thing with challenges. This is kind of what I've just been thinking through myself, is that they were new. First of all, people had more time, right? A lot of this was, well, I started my business pre-COVID, but then especially during the times when people were stuck at home and, didn't have as much to do and they were more online, challenges were really great, and people would get very invested and they would come hang out with me live daily and they would do the tasks, and there was a lot of interaction and it was so much fun. And it's not that they don't work anymore, they still do. But I think a lot has shifted since then. I think people don't have as much time to give to something. They aren't like hanging out online in the same way that they were back then. They have more things pulling on their attention. And then there's not as much kind of novelty with a challenge as there used to be. Back then, that might have been the first time you've done something like that, or it was a little bit unique and it was fresh and it was exciting. And now it's like, yeah, another challenge. We know how this is going to go. And while I always try and put my own spin on things that I do, like, there's also, they're kind of formulaic to an extent. And so I think that that is a big part of why people aren't necessarily like engaging as much, and maybe not as many people making it to the final check-in as used to back in the day. So I wasn't like whining or like, oh no, this doesn't work anymore. It was more just, is this the right format that I should be releasing things in? Because I've noticed that there isn't as much engagement and completion as there used to be. And the people in my membership that I was sharing this with all started coming back to me and saying, well, I didn't actually complete or turn in the homework for that challenge, but I watched the workshop, I worked through it in my head, and it helped me a ton. And more of them kept saying a different version of that, or I'm still working on mine, I just haven't been able to get it done. And it really was such a huge mindset shift for me about my expectations of, and also just kind of my perspective on whether something feels worth it for the people who go through it or not, if that makes sense. Like, I think I had in my mind that people weren't going to think that it was as valuable or beneficial or worth it for them if they didn't actually complete the tasks. And I was over here saying, what does this mean about me? Or do I need to change what I'm doing? Because I've noticed that this has also decreased. But what they were sharing got me to really think about the fact that I rarely complete and turn in homework for things that I sign up for. If I'm just being completely honest, there have been so many things, free and paid, that I have signed up for, that I have watched the training, that I have observed the community, that I have, done my own version of whether it was just in my head or whether I started working on some of it, but didn't necessarily like do it in the format that would need to be quote unquote like turned in at the end. And I really got to thinking, like, I have gotten so much out of different things that I have participated in, but I didn't complete it. If the other person on the other end would probably have no idea how much I got out of it because I didn't actually turn in the homework. And I can sometimes be a lurker when I'm in a place. I'm not, it depends on where it is and, a bunch of different factors, whether I'm more interactive or whether I'm kind of a silent lurker. But it was a huge it's not like it's new information, but it just really was what I needed to hear in that moment to shift my way of thinking. And I wasn't, like I said, I was not in like a pity party down in the dumps, like thinking, oh my gosh, this doesn't work anymore. But it still really struck me when I was like, oh wow, you are so right. Like probably a ton of people got a lot out of this and just didn't turn in the homework, just didn't complete the final step. You know what I mean? So because that caught me so off guard and was just so much of like, oh wow, what I needed to hear in this moment, I figure there's probably a lot of other people that need to hear the same thing. So think about it for yourself. And I'm curious, just think about, you can share this with me. I'd love to hear, but also think about it for yourself. What is your behavior like when you participate in something, when you sign up for something, when you purchase something, or even when you consume someone's free content? Are you taking the time to really engage and tell them how much this has helped you? Are you taking the time to be interactive? Are you following through to the very end? And if you are, awesome. You are one of our favorites. Everyone who puts together things, we love you so much and we're so grateful for you. And if you are one of those people that is interactive and completes things, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please keep being you. You are the best. But if you are not, I want you to think about how much you've still gained from the things you participated in, even if you didn't technically finish. How many times have we gotten so much out of something? Even sometimes you read a book and you don't finish it and you beat yourself up, but maybe you got a ton out of the part that you did read. I think we get too focused on completing, checking the box, and I think it kind of goes back to a little bit of how I feel about school. And I liked school. I'm not even someone who disliked going through school, but the way that school was set up was not the best setup for me, I don't think, in terms of truly learning, because I would learn in order to take the test and then I would forget a lot of what I was actually supposed to be learning because it was so focused on the outcome. It was so focused on, can you get an A on the test? Yes, I can. I can study the night before, get an A on the test, and then forget it all tomorrow. Is that actually what's most beneficial for me long term? Probably not. I I have a great what's the permanent record? Maybe is that the term I want? What show is that? It was Doug, right? Where the principal was always threatening, this will go on your permanent record. Sorry, that just unlocked a weird little memory for me. But anyway, I have, if you look back, I have a history of wonderful grades, but not as much of that knowledge as I would like to have and as what my grades might suggest. And so I think when it comes to online business, whether you're someone who creates programs, trainings, challenges, things like I do, whether you're someone who maybe does stuff like that for free, like maybe you sell products, you don't necessarily do coaching, but you still create things for people, or even, like I said, if you're putting in the work with programs, regimens, things that you're creating that your customers can go through, or even just with your free content that you work really hard for and you're hoping is benefiting people and you feel like you're kind of getting nothing back. I want you to just remember that we're not trying to focus on the test score. We're not trying to look at, did people complete their homework and turn it in and get an A? We're trying to look at what's going to stick with them. How has this impacted them? What have they gained from this, even if they didn't, complete the way that I thought that they would? And I think that that will help you feel a lot more positive about the work that you're doing with your business and hopefully help you want to keep going because it can feel really discouraging when it feels like you're putting in a lot of work and then people aren't really engaging with it. When it feels like, I don't even know if people like this or not. I don't even know, I have no idea. I put in so much work. People were gung ho at the beginning of my challenge and then they kind of fell off. But what I want you to know is that maybe all you did was plant that seed with them of a change that's going to take them a little bit of time to make. Or maybe you gave them one little nugget from your challenge that they are going to really take to heart and apply to their life, and it's going to have a huge ripple effect. But they didn't actually do the other five steps. And so you're over here saying, oh gosh, I don't even know. Like, what am I even doing? People don't care. This isn't working. But really, you're having a huge impact on a lot of people. Same thing with your free content. I can't tell you how many people have benefited me in some way from something I've seen in their free content, and they probably have no idea. And so I want you to think about those people for you. Who are the people, and don't spend a ton of time on this, but probably some people come to mind for you that have really impacted your life, whether it's your business, whether it's something in your personal life, whether it's some random person on social media, whether it's some person you encountered in the world. How many people have planted little seeds or done some small thing that had a really big impact on your life, and they probably have no idea? A lot of them, right? I think it's a really actually cool thing to think about and really encouraging to think about that you could be this person for so many people and have no idea. Meanwhile, you're over here thinking, what am I even doing? No one cares. Like, what's the point of this? What am I doing with myself and my life and my business? When you have multiple people out there whose life is forever changed because of you. And I just want you to remember that. I just want you to hopefully shift your way of thinking a little bit. It's not so much about did they do it all the way to the end? It's not so much about your perspective on what you think might be happening. It's how many little ripple effects your work, whether it's free or paid, your heart, the things you're putting out into the world, they are having ripple effects and they are impacting people, whether it looks like what you thought it would look like or not. And I just want you to remember that and to just keep going and to remember there are so many people out there and you will be shocked the longer you're in business how many people will come to you and say, oh, I love your videos, they help me so much, or oh, like I've been watching you for so long, I really want to try this thing, or little comments that people will make that will completely surprise you because you're like, I had no clue you even read my post, I had no clue. So I just want to take a moment to just interrupt in case you're caught in that negative thought of what's the point, or this feels like it didn't work out, or I feel like the things that I'm trying are failing. I want you to look at it from this different perspective. So I hope this has helped you. I hope this has given you a lot to think about. And remember that we want to think more about that lasting impact than the test scores. And I hope that that analogy can help you when it comes to the way that you look at your own business. So I really hope that this little nugget has just kind of maybe helped you feel a little more positive about your business today, like it did for me. And like I said, I wasn't even really in like a negative place, but this just helped me feel even better and really just gave me perspective that I needed. And I knew that I needed to share it too. So if you want more little nuggets like this and an amazing supportive community, I would love for you to check out my membership, the squad. We have just the best people in there. We have weekly coaching. We have a supportive community. We have tons of training. You get kind of an all access pass to pretty much everything I launch while you're a squad member. And they helped me have this mindset shift, and we would love to help you have this as well. I think when you're trying to do this alone, it's so easy to get caught up in that negativity. And I think that's a really kind of what inspired this episode was just how much seemingly offhand comments from some of my members really shifted the way that I was looking and thinking about something. Because when you get so stuck in your own way of looking at it and your own way of thinking at it, and we only see it from one side and we just think, oh gosh. And sometimes it just takes the simplest thing that someone else says from a different perspective to change everything for you. And that's what I think is really the power of community. So I would love to have you in the squad, but even if the squad is not for you, please do not stay isolated. Do not try and do this alone. And do not only use ChatGPT as the person that you talk to because it's not a person and it's going to just keep saying, anyway, I'll save that rant for a different day. I am not anti AI and I do still use it to talk things out sometimes, but nothing can replace the perspective of other real humans. So make sure that you have at least some business friends, some community, some people that you can talk to about what's going on because they can see things that you're just too close to notice and it can make all the difference. So, okay, I would love to see you inside the squad. Please feel free to reach out. I am more than happy to have a chat with you about if I think it's the right fit for you. And I will be honest with you if I think it's the right fit for you because it's not the right fit for everyone. It really depends on where you're at in your journey and what you're looking for. But I would love to see you in there. But if not, find some sort of community and just remind yourself it's not about whether they completed it or whether it looked the way that I thought it should look. It's about what value did they truly get from this? What impact can I have on someone, even if they only consume just a small piece of what I'm hoping that they will do? So I really hope this has helped you, and I'll talk to you soon. I hope this episode inspires you to go take action on something you have been overthinking. As much as I wish you could, you cannot think your way to success, so promise me you're going to go take some action today. Head over to overthinkingentrepreneur.com to find all the cool stuff I've made for you over the years, like my free guide to getting more social media engagement and my Facebook group, Dynamite Entrepreneurs, which has a free course on social media basics.